helps you get promoted in your job, according to the World Bank.
Global context for you to establish your PR, how they can establish themselves well.
But most graduates don't know that. So the ones that are listening to your show, they now know the secret. I have a model called Allure, A-L-U-R. And do you know when you put a cell phone between you in any environment, engagement and connection decreases by 68%, even if you don't look at it. Mimi, how did you reach 5 million people? I always say one person at a time.
5 years down the line.
Yes.
Or maybe 10 years down the line.
First thing you can think about is how often you are making eye contact. The second one would be body language. And the third one would be asking questions.
Behind this entire story, because that is a system, not single stand, right? So that is a whole system. Hi everyone, once again, welcome to the series of podcast Inlife. In life, we have different views, experience, and today we are going to have another different experience where you will benefit out of this. I'm pretty sure when it comes to young graduates and also young working professionals. So this will be much helpful for you to set up your career as well. So today we have very significant personality. So once again, I'm not going to introduce herself, but let me tell you, now she is a well-known speaker and also well-known author, and she has published books, and also she is going around the world to say this special subject called empathy. So without taking much time, so Mimi, thank you so much once again.
Thank you for having
coming
me.
over here. Yes. So the first thing that I need to ask is,
yes,
what is this empathy? And when it comes to young graduates and young professionals who have just entered into the corporate world,
yes,
why this is so much important?
Oh, it's so important, Madishan. So shall we start with what it is? Because, empathy is one of those things that so many people confuse. People think maybe it's about being kind or nice or compassionate, but it's very different from all of those things. So empathy is a skill set. It is the ability to take the perspective of somebody else. So to understand how someone else sees or experiences the world differently from you, but perhaps in the same environment. Empathy is built into the brain. So this is a skill set that you were born with, that we were all born with, and it's a choice. You can choose to listen to people, to understand them, to use your curiosity. So it's a skill set that helps us connect with people. It helps you get promoted in your job. It's going to give you all kinds of benefits across all areas of your life. So that's a good starting point. That's what it is. Why does it matter?
Exactly.
Well, let me tell you this. By 2030, 1 billion people need to be reskilled because of the age of AI.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And of that reskilling, according to the World Bank, 75% of those skills are what they call human skills.
Yeah.
Communication, emotional intelligence, empathy. Right? So empathy has been defined as one of the most critical skills for success. So if you are a graduate today going into the workforce, of course you need technical skills.
Correct.
Your studies are very important.
Correct.
But the difference between you and the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people is often emotional intelligence, communication, how you relate to others, and empathy is the foundation for all of it.
Great, great. So meaning that to establish yourself, having this empathy within you will be definitely help you out. Because most of the working environment, we also experience that you have brilliant technical knowledge and the capability.
Yes.
But then again, how do you associate and engage with people, and how do you generate your thought process into the table will be a different challenge.
Yes, and because nearly all of our career is about relationships.
Exactly.
Right? How you build relationships with your colleagues, with your boss, with the people you manage.
Yeah.
If you can't build relationships, build trust, create environments where people are engaged and they want to spend time with you, it's very hard to get ahead.
Yes.
So as I said, you're right. Technical skills get you into a profession. But if you want to really excel in a profession, you need to know how to communicate with people. And empathy is the fundamental skill at the core of all great communication.
Okay, great. So that's like, bricks where you build your walls, right?
I love that. Bricks. That's exactly right. Yeah,
exactly. So into a little bit detail, when it comes to corporate world, to establish yourself little bit faster, little bit quickly, because your incubation period is very little.
Yes.
So within that time period, so to establish yourself, how this empathy can support to these young graduates and then the early working professionals as well. What is your understanding?
Yeah, so I mean, fundamentally, empathy comes alive when you listen well. And I think often young people today, whether that's graduates or just younger in their career, in fact, all of us are told that we need to speak more, that we need to shout louder and use our voice more. And of course, you do need to be heard. You need to be able to speak. However, the true secret to influence, if you want to be able to influence others, is to listen better, to listen first, right? When you think of, let me give you an example, Madison, okay? So if you go to dinner tonight with one of your very good friends, and you are telling your friend about a difficult thing that happened at work, and before you finish, your friend jumps in and tries to fix it. I know what you should do, Madishan. You should say this. You should do this. You sit at dinner and you think, well, hang on a minute. You didn't listen to me. How can you give me advice if you never listen to me? What that does is it breaks trust. It breaks respect. And in the end, you stop listening. So in life, people listen to those who listen first to them. So a lot of my work with executives, but also all the way down through management levels, is in something called listening-led leadership. And everyone, whatever level you are, is leading someone. So even if you're a graduate and you're just starting out, there will be someone somewhere in your environment that you can lead. And the key to that is listening. Because if you don't understand, how can anybody trust you? If you don't understand, how can you accurately predict behavior? How can you motivate someone? So fundamentally, the ability to listen, and this is a skill set, you have to practice it.
Exactly.
But the ability to listen is actually far more important than the need to speak. But most graduates don't know that. So the ones that are listening to your show, they now know the secret.
Yeah, exactly. Meaning that you need to practice listening more and more. That is also active listening.
Active listening,
because
exactly.
We listen, but not fully.
Yes.
So you have to have your mental and then the even entire your focus should be there. So that is where you have the listening, and then you grab the real the content, not only the content, even emotions, feelings, and everything for you to reply on back.
Yeah, well, because there's a big difference, Madishan, between listening only to reply and listening to understand, right?
Correct.
So when you talk about active listening, that's really the difference. So I often ask corporates, people I speak to, professionals, are you listening to reply? Are you waiting for your turn to say what you want to say? Or are you really listening to understand what this person is trying to tell you, to gain insight, to gain respect and understanding? So hearing is very different from listening. So
Very
often
correct.
people say to me, oh, no, I'm listening. I say, no, you can hear me. You're not listening to me, right? Often in romantic relationships, you'll have a couple and they have an argument and someone will say, you are not listening to me. And the other person says, I am. And the first person says, no, you're not. You don't understand, right? The first person thinks, but I can hear everything you're saying. But they're not understanding. So that's the difference between hearing and listening. And the reason people get so frustrated and that most people respond to that story, they're like, yes, I've had that happen, is because our greatest need as humans is to be seen and to be acknowledged. So when you don't listen, that's why so much conflict is born, because people don't listen, and then you feel invisible, and then it goes from there.
Interesting.
Right?
I'm pretty sure that we always tend to, or we are trying to express ourselves, rather wait and listen to the other person. There you lose the, as you correctly mentioned, there you lose the trust, and there you lose the credibility as well. Because that's where you lose many opportunities when it comes to corporate world as well. Because the person who is listening to you, you would love to go and speak.
Yes.
Right? So that is where you build your followers as a leader in another way.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So going beyond a little bit the local context.
Yes.
If we consider about the global context, because when it comes to not even Sri Lanka, from other countries as well, so students are migrating, and they are going for opportunities when it comes to higher studies, and then even for the employment.
Yep.
So in that global context, for you to establish your PR and for you to establish your brand, right? So how they can establish themselves well, having this empathy develop within yourself.
Yes.
Imagine the person who is not having much empathy, in the sense practice empathy, the person who has practiced and developed the muscle of empathy. What is the differentiation, and how those will definitely support for them to settle in multinational cultures, and then the working with multinational nations, and also working with different environments.
Yes.
So how it will help?
Look, I think it makes me think of two things. One is culture, right? And probably the more obvious answer to that question, right? Which is that when you leave any country and go and work or live in another, and this is my 17th year in Asia and Africa. So I was born in the UK. I left when I was very young, and I never went back. So I have lived and worked across places as diverse as South Africa and Saudi Arabia and Sri Lanka and, many, many places. Sri
Lanka is now a well-known place to you, right?
Sri Lanka is my favorite. It's where my soul is. So culturally, the best way to be able to fit in and succeed in any culture is to listen first, right? I have to look around me and understand, how are people behaving? How are they greeting each other? How do they eat together? What is the process in meetings? Who speaks first? Who listens first? How do I fit in? As a woman, are there norms in this culture versus another? Is eye contact acceptable or not? So many, many multi-layered realities. So the first thing I'd say is, if you're leaving Sri Lanka, perhaps for the first time, and going to study or work somewhere else, the key to understanding a culture and therefore fitting in, belonging, which is what all humans crave, right? To fit in, is to listen first to that culture. That doesn't mean losing who you are. That doesn't mean that you are not authentic to your own culture. But if you choose to live in somebody else's, I believe that it is respectful and graceful and the right thing to do to respect and fit into theirs. So that would be the first thing. I think the second thing is that authenticity also comes from empathy. So when I teach listening-led leadership, when I teach people to listen, I have a model called Allure, A-L-U-R.
A-L-U-R, okay.
I'm not going to do the whole model. Be safe. But the A is for authenticity and presence. And the reason I bring that up is that if you are not able to be authentically you and authentic in that conversation, you can't ever really understand somebody else. So being able to build, you talked earlier about sort of your brand and influence of others. I know from firsthand experience, Sri Lanka is a good example, right? We met through social media. You found me because for 6 years, I have authentically and patiently been trying to prove to Colombo that I love the city and I want to work here and I want to help Sri Lankans grow, right? I can only do that because it's very true to who I am, because I'm extremely consistent in how I turn up authentically as me and my work in empathy. I don't try and do anything else. So that role of really using your empathy for others to be able to create influence, to build your personal brand,
Correct.
starts with authenticity. So those would be the two things I think are really important if you're going to go abroad, really being able to master culture, and secondarily to be consistently authentic so that people can follow you.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I think very important. When it comes to culture, you have to have sort of sense about the culture and how you slowly fit into the culture. Another thing is because you need to have that the listening, not even that, even beyond that, patience to understand, right? So that is very important because since the world is rapidly growing and going fast,
Yes.
this is other way around. So you have to wait and listen and be patient to understand what it is. So that is very important. So having that understanding what is your thought process and differentiation, are we in a position to differentiate the person who is having empathy and who is not having empathy?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you would know, you would feel it almost instantly. You know, empathy is very hard to fake, right? Because it's a very human reality. So if you are pretending to understand me, pretending to listen, but your eyes are all over the place, or you're on your phone, or just your energy is elsewhere, like I can tell you're tapping, or you're impatient, right?
Okay.
I know you're not listening.
Because I am focusing on the mobile and these
And do you
things.
know, when you put a cell phone between you in any environment, engagement and connection decreases by 68%, even if you don't look at it.
Okay.
Right? So empathy is something that comes, as you said, with patience and with presence. In fact, when I teach authenticity, I have an equation. And the equation for authenticity is patience plus presence. You need to be able to do both. So can you tell the difference between an empathetic and a non-empathetic person? Definitely, because the empathetic person is interested in you. They value you. They listen. They make eye contact.
Yeah.
They want to understand. They're curious. And an unempathetic person doesn't do any of that.
Okay. Again, silly question.
No, not silly.
What is the competitive advantage of having this when it comes to the employment step, especially corporate entity, environment of the corporates? And because we know that why we are bringing these series of podcasts is to help out that to meet the expectation of the corporate, and also to help the graduates or the young professionals who are just stepping to the corporate. So they are having this empathy muscles.
Yes.
Right? So what is the competitive advantage that they have?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. But let me put it like this.
Yeah.
I think to be a leader has many, many definitions, right? If you Googled leadership or what is a leader, you're going to get, millions of entries.
Exactly.
For me, it's very simple. To lead, somebody has to be following you. Okay? Right? Someone has to be coming.
Yes.
If no one is coming, you are just walking.
Yes.
You are not leading, right?
Exactly.
And people follow those that listen to them, right? Like the example earlier we spoke about in the restaurant with your friend. If people don't listen, you don't want to be with them, right? So let me ask you a question. If you went to a party and you met a new person and you're having a drink together and they introduce themselves, and 15 minutes later, they're still talking about them. They haven't asked you anything. 25 minutes later, they're still talking about them. They haven't asked you anything. And then your drink is finished. What do you do?
Probably we will walk out.
You would walk out. Exactly. Because no one wants to hang out with someone that never listens.
Yeah.
Right? No one wants to spend time with that person. So when you talk about competitive advantage, people follow, people stay loyal, people trust those who listen to them. So there is no end to the competitive advantages of being empathetic.
Yeah.
I know this because I train thousands of people every year, but I also know it because I used it to change my own life. I worked in corporate, and then I made a decision to leave to do this work because I believed that the world needed more empathy. The world does need more empathy.
Yes.
I wanted to follow that path and write my books. And Madhushan, when I started I had about 300 connections on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And so I got up every day and I created content about empathy.
Okay.
And I wondered if anyone was listening. They weren't. But I got up every day and did it again.
Yeah.
And after 5 years, which was last year, we reached 5 million people.
Wow, great.
Right?
Excellent. Yeah.
So how did we do that? We did that by consistently turning up authentically, listening to people. So when people say to me, Mimi, how did you reach 5 million people? I always say one person at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, I didn't literally meet 5 million, but I met one and they introduced me to 10 who introduced me to more. So I can tell you that there's a competitive advantage because once upon a time, I had 300 people who weren't reading my posts. And now I have 5 million who are in 5 years. So,
The more you practice it,
yes.
the more you gain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So Mimi, anything that we can have sort of now the people who are listening here,
Yes.
they also have sort of understanding, okay, is there any method that I can see the level of empathy that I have, or to understand okay, this is where I need to improve myself. So likewise, is there any method or any tool or something like that where we can have sort of understanding about our level of empathy?
So the short answer, the only answer that I really know to measure it, is that I'm about to launch a tool on my own website where people can take a small questionnaire, like a small test, to check their empathy levels.
Test,
right? A bit like that, but very simple.
Okay.
A set of questions that allows you to assess how well you are understanding and listening to other people. So that goes live next month. I created that only because I couldn't find one. So I'm not saying that to self-promote. I just don't know another one. There are literally no empathy tests in the world, so I made one. But really, on an everyday basis, I would ask yourself that question we spoke about earlier, which is, am I listening to understand or am I listening to reply?
Okay.
Empathy starts with intention. In fact, it starts with awareness, which is what we're doing now, right?
Correct.
Making sure that more people know what empathy is. But the delivery of it starts with intention. So nobody can change you except you. So the only person that can make you become a better listener, that people want to follow and want to listen to, because people listen to those who listen first, is you. So being very aware, let me give perhaps your listeners 3 tips. Being very aware of whether you're making eye contact. That takes practice, particularly for some of the younger generations. My tip for that is, if you want to make better eye contact, is to remember the color of somebody's eyes.
Okay.
In the split second that it takes me to notice what color eyes you have, right? You don't know I'm thinking that. It creates subconscious connection because it will mean I have to look at you for a little bit longer. And in that split second, from a neuroscience point of view, I have created connection.
Correct.
So the first thing you can think about is how often you are making eye contact. The second would be your body language. So it's very important to keep your body language open when you want to create trust and relationships with people. Research shows that the gap between your ear and your shoulder makes a massive difference in how trusted, how empathetic you're seen to be. So if you're sitting all hunched up, you feel very different from when you're very open, right? You're doing it now, right?
Exactly, yes.
So you are measuring is a strong word, but you are thinking about the gap between your shoulders and between your shoulders and your ears. So you're basically rolling your shoulders back and down.
Wow.
Open, right? And immediately that creates trust. It's from your evolutionary brain. If your body is open, including not crossing your arms, it's signs that we are safe. Now, of course, nobody knows that consciously, but subconsciously, that's what you're telling people. You are safe with me. I am confident. You can trust me. So we said eye contact. The second one would be body language, keeping open body language. And the third one would be asking questions. So getting in the habit of saying to people, can you tell me more about that? I would like to understand that more. Why does that matter to you? Right? Open-ended questions.
Questions, yeah, exactly.
Because then you're inviting understanding and you're increasing empathy.
Great. I think you have like, more areas that you can improve when it comes to in life even. Because we believe that, okay, speaking, like, saying few words is enough. No, not that. I think more than that. It gives you more than that when it comes to this empathy. And even you have subject called neuro-linguistic programming, and how do you program your neuro pathways, or the entire program that you have, and how do you formulate new habits. So also relatively support behind this entire story, because that is a system, not single stand, right? So that is a whole system. So you spoke about how we can improve this empathy as well.
Yes.
And also I would like to touch upon the very practical tips when you have, let's say for example, there are circumstances when it comes to corporate environment as well. You get angry and you get little upset because of the recent conversation you had with your supervisor, or maybe your colleagues, or something happened to you which is not acceptable, or which is you didn't expect. So those practical scenarios coming in, so there you have this empathy.
Yes.
At that time, how do you awaken this empathy? Because if it is intentionally we focus on that, definitely it will be there
For sure.
let's say. But when it comes to the environment, automatically it will go out. And then how you can bring back that attention and activate the whole system to eliminate, or maybe to reduce that maybe stress level, or maybe upset. And then how do you go back to the person again and say, look here, I'm so sorry, it was something I understood wrong, so let me clarify it more, or let me correct it more. So how do you bring that awareness of activating that empathy within you at that practical setup?
Look, I think it takes practice for a start. And I think it's really important to recognize that, right? We don't become skilled in these things overnight. It takes practice. And the first time these things happen in the workplace, it can be very overwhelming. It can be very stressful, right? But rest assured, we get better, right? Especially if you're a student, you've never done this before.
Yeah.
You've never worked in a professional world or a corporate before. So I would say three things. I would say the first thing is to master self-empathy. And probably we can't do that in this show. But self-empathy is the ability to understand yourself. Why is this upsetting you? Why is this making you feel angry? What's underneath that? What is it about this conversation that has left you feeling anxious, right? That takes time. You can't do that in a rush. You have to slow down. So mastering self-empathy is a process, and I would say that's the first thing. Yeah. The second thing, back to asking questions, is that assumption is the enemy of all performance. And when I say performance, I mean at work, but actually in any relationship. So you could say assumption is the enemy for all successful relationships, at work, in life, in marriage, right? If I assume you have said that because you don't like me, that's my assumption, not your reality. I am reading your response as angry. Maybe you're not angry, you're frustrated. Those are very different things. So the second thing I would say is to really think about this, that assumption is the greatest enemy of relationships. So use those questions to not live in assumption. Madishan, you seem very frustrated. Am I understanding you right? If you said yes, can you help me understand why you're so frustrated? Right? Whatever those questions are, they will move you out of assumption into empathy, into insight.
Yeah.
And then the third thing I would say, especially when we're starting out, but to be honest, Madishan, this happens to me all the time. When something bad happens or irritating, it's very easy to think that this is happening to me. Why is this happening to me? Right? It's a victim mindset. If you shift your thinking to why is this happening for me, it totally changes.
A little twist.
such a small twist and such a big difference. So tonight, when I came to meet you, I was a bit late because it's raining a lot in Colombo today, right?
Yes.
I could have sat in the car thinking, why is this happening to me? I'm late for Madashan, very frustrating. But instead, I said, okay, I have 45 minutes. Why did this happen for me? What can I do in these 45 minutes? Who can I call in the meantime? Emails I can answer, things that can happen. In my work, things get cancelled all the time. You know, I might fly to Mumbai and then something gets cancelled. I have a choice. Why is this happening to me? I could be so angry. But when I say, why is this happening for me? If this event is cancelled, what else can I do? Who else can I meet? And if you take that into all areas of life as a mindset, it totally shifts things.
Brilliantly agree on that, because your mindset is all about you. Because if you can switch your mindset, the entire setup you can change even, right?
Yes.
That will come from little tiny word itself.
Yeah,
but then
tiny word.
Yeah, but then again, to have that switch, your mindset matters.
Yes, it's intentional.
Exactly.
You have to really take a breath and think about it. But once you get this right, if you only do one thing from this podcast, you don't have to worry about all the other things. If you just do that, things will change in your life.
Exactly. So, Mimi, what is your understanding now, let's say somewhere 5 years down the line?
Yes.
Or maybe 10 years down the line. I think you stepped in, but then again, I'm reconfirming or validating. This empathy will applicable at that time as well.
Will empathy be applicable in 5 to 10 years?
Yeah.
Yes, it will only be more applicable. Because, as I said at the very beginning, actually, as AI shifts our world, and as AI takes over so much of our process and our administration and our delivery, the core competitive edge will be your human skills. So the more we embrace AI, which is changing every minute, let alone every year, the more these emotional intelligence and empathetic leadership skills will become important. So again, if I just reflect on my own work, probably 2 years ago in Colombo, I had bookings, but less, because I really had to explain to corporate Sri Lanka, what is this? Why do we need empathetic leadership? Today, I can't keep up with the demand.
Yes.
That's how quickly it's changed, less than 2 years. So that will just speed up. Now, and maybe once people have heard your show, if you Google it, right, you will find it in the education sector, in politics, in social change, in finance, in education. So empathy is rising and empathy is trending because we're living in times when we have never been this disconnected. 52% of the world is suffering with loneliness. And when you realize that loneliness, it's not about being alone. It's about being disconnected. And according to the Surgeon General in the USA, to be chronically lonely is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Oh my goodness.
Our loneliness is killing us. So the lonelier we are, and unfortunately, Madashan, the reality is in the next 5 to 10 years, this trend is continuing, the more we need the people with the skills to reconnect us. Because as humans, we are pro-social beings. That means we don't do very well alone. In fact, people who are chronically alone die or have a chance of dying of 28% higher risk of mortality. So nearly 30% higher likelihood of death if you live isolated from others. And the cure for loneliness and isolation, in part, is empathy, the ability to understand others, to reconnect, to have great conversations, to listen first to other people. So these skills will only get more important as every year goes by.
Exactly. We seems the symptoms right now, even about the loneliness, because we used to be ourselves, and we are very individually works towards that as well. But as you correctly mentioned, this loneliness will be slowly popping up.
Yeah.
So there you need to build more connection. As I told in previous podcasts as well, your network is your net worth.
Oh, I love that. That's
Right.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your network,
Your network is your net worth.
net worth.
Yeah, it's
Because
great.
without having a good quality network, you won't have net worth.
That's interesting.
Because you
yeah.
can get many things done. Let's forget about the things that you can get done. But you should have at least 2-3 good folks to associate,
Absolutely.
share and care.
Share.
So
yeah.
that is where you can slowly iron out this isolation or loneliness, something like that. So that is
Yeah.
very, very important. So little bit out of the frame,
Yes.
empathy is connected with emotional intelligence as well.
Yes. It's
So I'm
part
pretty
of it.
I'm pretty sure this empathy and emotional intelligence both. Emotional intelligence is a big picture where this empathy rooted
Yes,
there,
the
right?
foundation.
Yeah, the foundation.
Because if you don't understand other people, how can you recognize their emotions or your own, right? Whether you're using self-empathy or empathy for others, the ability to understand your emotions
Exactly.
relies on empathy.
Yes,
So
yes.
you actually can't even try to be high in your IQ, in your EQ levels if you don't have any empathy.
Correct. So let me tell you classic example recently I experienced.
Yeah.
Now when I work at the work environment, so there is a request for me saying, okay, I need to do ABCD through MS Teams, Microsoft
Yes.
Teams, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I was trying to reply on it, but then again I wait a little bit and thought, okay, let me check whether this person is around me and see, because I have never meet or I have never spoken to the person earlier. I just thought, okay, without replying through Teams, why I can't stepping and see how the person is,
Yes.
what sort of person is. So then I went. So then after the discussion only I figured it out. How fruitful is that?
Absolutely.
Instead of doing this virtual conversation, so a physical conversation is much more building trust, credibility, and then you establish your PR even. Now my point is, now when it comes to most of the graduates and even youngsters, we used to stay with devices and the technology or the platforms. So instead, if we can switch at least one time at a day to go to a person and to introduce yourself and have a relationship and a network, will be definitely advantage. So that is where you build your emotional intelligence and also empathy as well.
Yes, and Madhushan, what I want your audience to know is not only is that very important to network and for other people, but empathy is reciprocal. So what that means is the more I speak to other people, the more I say hello to strangers or people in the coffee shop, not only does it benefit them, but it will benefit you because of the way our neurons work in our brain.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So when you smile at someone, they smile back, right? When you say to someone in the coffee shop, you go into Barrister for a coffee and you don't just say, good morning, can I have a latte? You say, good morning, I can see your name badge. I say, good morning, Madhushan, how are you? And you'll see the person go, oh, I'm fine, thanks. Right? When that person feels like, oh, that's nice, and smiles at you, your neurons change. So the oxytocin, which is what we call the happy hormone, the things that make us feel happy, right?
Yeah.
Happens for them, but it happens for us too, because we're pro-social. So your advice to your audience about try and step away from your device, maybe once a day, speak to a stranger. It can be a micro moment. Just looking someone in the eye in the coffee shop and really saying, how are you? And meaning it.
Are you doing okay?
Yes, and then waiting for their reply. Because if you say, hi, how are you? And then you look down at your phone, you've cut off the connection, right? So I really advise your audience to notice how it feels. Because the more you realize, I feel happier, the more you do it.
Exactly. Quickly, what are the top 3 things or the advice that you can give to the audience to build this empathy? Very practical, very simple.
So I said earlier, but I'm going to make it number 1 is eye contact.
Exactly.
It's critical. Number 2, there we go, body language, but I wasn't going to repeat it. Number 2, use people's names. Right? If you watch this show back, you'll hear that I've said Madhushan a few times. It's very, very important in life.
Yeah.
Our names were the first gift we were ever given, and it totally changes psychology. So number one, make eye contact. Number two, use people's names often. And number three, I would say really say hello. Say hello to everybody, right? I probably say hello, Madishan, to, I don't know, 50 people a day, depending on where I am, right? I say hello because I want to say hello to people, but also because most of those people say hello back. And it's really joyful. Life, I promise you, is better when you are connected. So make eye contact, use people's names, say hello.
Great. So final thing.
Yes.
What is the miracle that we can do with empathy? And I'm pretty sure that you have teach many people around the world.
Yes.
So what is the population that you have teach so far as well?
Well, we reached 5 million last year organically. In my classes or my master classes, probably about 35,000 by now.
Okay.
So quite big.
Yeah. What's the miracle that we can do with this empathy?
Oh my gosh, a miracle. Miracle is a very big word. I have to think about it because I take that word seriously. I think for many people in life, they are never listened to. And when you meet someone that either you know in your life, perhaps somebody in your family, somebody in the workplace, somebody that you meet, that is feeling unheard, is feeling invisible. When you listen to them and you see how quickly that changes how they feel, how they sit, how they show up, the confidence that you can create in others, that is a gift. And I think that is a miracle. It's the miracle of being heard, of listening to other people, particularly people who feel unheard. So I think perhaps that's a miracle.
That's the miracle that you can do with this empathy. It's like, feel like very simple, but it is very strong.
Very.
Let me add my viewpoint as well. So definitely having empathy, you will be able to transform people's life into a different platform.
Yeah.
So meaning when you work at corporates, even when you work in your personal life, this empathy will definitely help you out to bring yourself into another level. Maybe from local to global, maybe from global to beyond.
Yes.
All right. So having said that, once again, Mimi, I'm really, really grateful to have you today. I'm pretty sure that you had busy schedules, but I can remember when I request and when I send the invitation to you without asking anything, you said, okay, let's do this. I think because of the audience. So that is the empathy I seen through you as well.
Thank you.
So really appreciate, grateful to have you, and looking forward to seeing you in future as well.
Thank you.
And we are wishing you for your future when it comes to spread this empathy towards the world, since you have gone up to 5 million. Am I correct?
Yes.
So it will definitely go more and more.
I hope so.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, we are trying to end the episode today. My only thing for you is try to start somewhere you can start. It could be very little, but as Mimi also mentioned, started from 3,000, now 5 million. The same way, start from today where you can, and somewhere that somewhere down the line, so definitely you will be in good place. So when it comes to corporate and personal life both, this empathy is very, very important. So in life, it's helpful for you to do the miracle. So once again, thank you so much, and we are meeting you in upcoming episodes as well with different subjects where it will help you to shape your life as well. So once again, thank you so much. Stay tuned.